met raad en saam, met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds stuur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, en Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Well, it's TGIF and time for a sound check to make sure we're not in a tunnel here. F and time for a sound check to make sure we're not in a tunnel here. F and time for a sound check to make... Sounds pretty good. Not the deep bass we're looking for, but it sounds pretty good. Welcome back, folks. Apologies for those who were listening last time. I have no idea what was going on. I suspect that because I was leaning forward that there may have been sound. I had to turn up the sound in my earpiece so I could hear Kali better. And maybe that sound came out of here and fed into the microphone. So that may have been what the problem was, because it was episodic, or it was YouTube. I'm not sure. But let's see what happens when I plug this microphone back in. It shouldn't make a difference. All right, turn off. There we go. All right, is the sound still good? Let's do a 5 by 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, is the sound still good? Let's do a 5. Sounds good. All right, folks, welcome back. It's Friday. I was trying to listen to Giselle, but I couldn't because my mobile wanted to reboot. It kept asking me yesterday, so I just rebooted it finally. It's uploading the new software system, so, Anyway, well, let's get to the chat and say hello to everybody. Well, I've been watching some interesting content on YouTube while I was busy editing and working, and discovered this young lady named Misha Petrov. She's very entertaining. I like her backdrop. Very, Very appealing, very attractive young lady, and she's got some good common sense stuff. Although she's, when she gets into politics, not quite so on the spot, but in social stuff, she's pretty good. So yeah, she's got like 500,000 subscribers. So I kind of envy her. Congratulations to her. Look, I realize we're never, unless something breaks crazy, never really going to reach that big threshold. So we're not going to worry about that. Hendo, welcome back to you. For those of you who were here earlier, caught my broadcast with Khalid Creel, the Chief Executive Officer of AfriForum. Thank you for your attendance. Be sure to hit the like. We got 500 views on that. It was unannounced. It was a short boom. We did it and people came. So I'm grateful for those who showed up. And thank you so much. Feel free to share that link with folks wherever you like. And we're back to a Stormers hoodie today because it's Rugby weekend. EPCR Champions and Challenge Cup this weekend. And it doesn't look like it's going to be too good. Stormers have a chance. I think the Bulls are going to get obliterated. I think the Sharks get obliterated. I think the Cheetahs are going to get obliterated. So it's not going to be pretty. Maybe the Lions can win. All right, so here we go. By the way, have I even done my Super Brew in that? Let's take a look at that right now. Oh, look, it's Bonnie Blue. A different window. Let me just look at Super Brew before we get into this. I don't want to forget, folks. I get so busy doing things here. Dashboard. Do we got Super Brew? We got Super Brew. I don't see. Yeah, there they are. Okay, I got them all picked. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Up and coming. Have I picked them all? Yeah. Okay, good. Just double check. I wasn't sure if I got them all. So we're good on the Super Brew front. And that's important. So hopefully you guys can check out my Bonnie Blue. You believe that woman's 25 years old? I don't believe it. She looks like she's 45. She does not look 25. Anyway, for those you know. Anyway, so all kinds of crazy stuff happening today. My Yahoo Mail, which is owned by Verizon now, decided to go to the new artificial intelligence generated format. I don't like it. It allowed me to go back. It's been trying to do that for a year and a half. I got nervous. I thought I was going to get stuck with that new format. I can go back. I can't see the folders. I want to see all the folders at once. It wouldn't let me unhide them. So I went back to the old fashioned. Anyway, so, all right. Whoa, there's a floater there in front of my eye. So let me keep going. Say hello. Christo Els is here. Welcome to Kristen, Vilma Rasmus, Nick Muller, Gerardo Steenkamp, and Holden Caulfield back all before the start. Wouldn't that be funny if that Holden Caulfield was the actor and we discovered it one day and he's watching the channel? Anyway, I don't know if the beard's looking okay. I keep trimming. Now I'm getting to the point now because the mustache was so long that I'm going to have to lift up the mustache hairs so that I have a long mustache afterwards when I trim it. So, okay, so after we started the program, Meerkat, Allison Johnson, Pablo Charlie from the Netherlands, Beth Frazier, Chris Ehlers, welcome Chris, Richard Kuhn, Garrett Gillett, Somerset West, Diane Humples there, John Huchin in Arizona, and Courtney in Utah, and Nick Muller. Already said Nick. Okay, who else? Anybody else jump in there? I think it's pretty much everybody. PK's there. Good to see you again. PK, if I read your comments during the Khalid Creel thing, if I caught it correctly, did you say that you were orphaned by the Bush War? Your father died in Angola. If so, my thoughts and prayers and my best wishes for that's a tough thing. It's a long time ago. Bonnie Blue's doing it for the love of the game. She is, Pablo Charlie. She is. Caught the stream with Khalid Baxton was great. You're okay, Richard. You're very welcome. Updated Yahoo is bad. Yeah, no, I was able to go back to the old one, so managed to join last stream late, ran it. Okay, cool. Thanks, Keith. I'm glad you joined us. Hey, Jessica's here. Yay! It's a Pennsylvania day. Hey, Jessica, how's it going there? I can't say it. Picky, perky. You all tell me I say it wrong. So, Jessica, welcome to you. Who else we got there? And Alan Coates is here as well. And there's the voice of reason, Charles Van Onselen. Paulie was here yesterday. We had the brains behind the operation, but heard the Bush War veterans not get. Yeah, that's what I've heard too, Courtney. Although the Deputy Minister for Defense said that's not true, so I'm not sure what the case is. So Pablo Charlie saying that in all honesty, it's Mark Ruda. Oh, is he surprising me? No, I don't really have an opinion on that so far. I'll hold back, but I will eventually comment. I'm not a fan or an opponent of Mark Ruda. I just have real issues with the political arm of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which seems hell-bent on leading us into a global conflict. Hey, there's the brains behind the operation. Okay. In the back of the class. Okay, well, there's always a place to be. Paul, you should check out that Bonnie Blue Chica. Yeah, man. Yeah, she's got the look of a 45-year-old at the age of 25, but the body of a 25-year-old. Yep, absolutely do not recognize the veterans. Exactly. That's what I said. Yep, that's what I said. Enjoy the earlier stream. Awkward Leon's here. I really like Kali and Afriform. Cool. Good to hear. All right, folks, be sure to hit that like button. We got 38 of those already. Here we go. Boom, boom, shakalaka.
That was easy.
Where is Boom Shakalaka? You know, I actually met Boom Shakalaka in person, quite by accident. I was in Cape Town at the Sevens tournament a couple years ago, and I walk out to get something. Hey, Colonel Wyatt! And I'm hey, who the hell is this? Hey, it's Boom Shakalaka. I'm like, oh, you serious? Very serious. Anyway, it was pretty cool, and that's the last I heard of him. He came on the program a few times, as you know, in chat. Not much. What's happening in Mozambique? Nothing good, Jessica. Nothing good. The elections, the opposition leaders calling for protest, and it's not looking good there. But very little reporting on it. There was no focus on Mozambique yesterday or today, even though people know that there's likely a lot of violence there. Wants more defense spending. Yeah, well, that's good. I'm okay with that. More defense spending. Canada spends 1.3% of their GDP on defense. Germany spends 0.9%. That's outrageous. The world's fourth largest economy spends less than 1% of their gross domestic product on national security. No, I'm sorry. Sure, if Democrats could block American veterans from receiving pension, I think some Republicans would do it as well. That would be a problem. But look, I anticipated at some point, because the way this country's been run so poorly, and this is a true statement, I made this determination back in the 1980s, and I confirmed in the 1990s after I went back in as an officer. I said, you know, I have to plan for my own future. I have to save and invest. I have to be smart because I don't expect to ever see Social Security. It will be gone before I ever get a penny of it. And if I do get a penny of it, as soon as I start getting it, they'll just taxing it to a level that it's not even worth having it. And then, so that's Social Security. And I said, eventually I said, these people are so screwed up and so bankrupt that they're probably also going to take away our military retirements at some point. So I've prepared for those eventualities. It would be wrong and I'd not be happy about it, but it wouldn't come as a shock to me. I mean, I'm already paying for medical care that's supposed to be free. I'm not supposed to pay a penny for any medical care, but I have to pay. I have co-pays. I have to pay for medication if I don't get it at a military clinic. So, yeah, and in fact, the thing that they give me for the Roshea, the form that it comes in, the capsules, they don't normally carry it. There's only 2 people that are getting that prescription at that pharmacy. So they stopped carrying it. And I'm like, the doctor said, no, you can't do this. He needs to take the capsule form. And so because the doctor countermanded them, which doesn't always work, they went back, and the 2 of us who get a prescription there that use capsules get our prescription. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get that medication. I have to go pay for it. U.S. spends so much defense it can't account for $35 trillion. That's not true. Can't account for $35 trillion? No, it's nonsense. Where are you getting $35 trillion from? That's nonsense. Set to retire in 20 years. I have a Roth IRA and TSP for the military. Well, there you go. See, that's smart. A Roth IRA is a good idea, and a thrift savings plan, the TSP, is also a good idea. I have a TSP and have a Roth IRA. I couldn't fully fund the Roth IRA because of income thresholds. It really didn't do me any advantages, but when I could fund it, I did fund it. And the TSP, I funded that fully, but I didn't get any plus up because I wasn't enlisted and I wasn't a federal civilian worker who could plus ups, but I put every penny I could in that for a long time. And there was a period there they let you top up, and I actually put more money in for a couple of years to make up because we weren't allowed to join till later. So I was only allowed to be in it for the last about 18 years of my military career. Had I been allowed to put money in the TSP from 1983, I would be, it didn't come out until 1988. But if I'd been able to do it from 88 onwards, I would have a buttload of money. Because the power of compounding, the difference between 10 years of investment savings and 20 years is huge. And the difference between 10 and 30 is massive. So unfortunately, I didn't have that full time, but I had pretty much a career's worth, 18 years of putting in the TSP. Also, I didn't have a lot of combat tours in that time that were eligible for tax exempt, which lets you put a lot more money in there. So my friends who own lodges in Mozambique are having a tremendously difficult time. Zero business. No. Oh, yeah. No, they're going to go out of business if their place isn't torched or robbed. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Rumsfeld said it started $2.3 trillion a few days before 9/11. Now it's $35 trillion. Rumsfeld's dead. He's been dead for several years. I'm not sure where you're getting your facts from. And $35 trillion? No, that would be the entire defense budget for 35 years, for 50 years. That would be 50 years of defense budgets. I bet you. There's no way that they can't account for $35 trillion. They can account for my salary. Salaries make up a third of the defense budget. So right there, boom, 1/3 of the defense budget can be accounted for every single year. So I mean, if it's $800 billion, then that's $270 billion last year that's accounted for. So you only have $630 to work with. Come on, man. Come on. How when you retired? The way things are going, I'll be around 90. Well, Stinky Squid, I'm not retired as such. I'm retired from the military because I aged out. So I didn't age out as an age. You can stay to your 62, but even then you can stay longer if congressional approval. But that's a very small number of people, like 4-star generals. But I aged out from the standpoint that you can only do 30 years. So I did 30 years plus my enlisted time. We came out 36 and a half. So that made me 55 when I left the military. So Stinky's dad stopped working at 83. Okay. Pentagon has passed an audit. I think you're trying to say the Pentagon has not passed an audit. Yeah, that's true. They haven't passed an audit. Of course they haven't passed an audit. That's not news. Not news. It's also not something to lose sleep over. Find the abuse, fraud, waste, and abuse, and prosecute it. That's why we have an inspector general. Yeah, I got what you meant, Holden. All right, so what else we got here? Thought they were coming from me, says Tony. It's likely Europe intended to move all its defense research under one roof. This might legitimately bring the government-funded expenditure down way below this per person for profit USA spend. No. That's nonsense. Come on, Keith. That's nonsense. The European defense manufacturers don't do it because it's a nice thing to do. They do it for profit. And they're not all state-owned. The Italian helicopter manufacturers. We have Germans and Austrian and Belgian arms manufacturers. Yeah, we've got British ammunition manufacturers. No, these companies are almost all private. There's only a handful of state-run enterprises, and they're all for profit. So I'm not buying that story for even a microsecond, brother. That might be the logic they're trying to tell you there in the UK, but I'm not buying it. So what was kind of scary? I missed something. Rolls-Royce. They make great engines. Oh, they make great aircraft engines, Rolls-Royce. They really do. Good stuff. Of course, Mitsubishi made great ones for the Zero fighters back in the day. Yeah, I'm sorry about your friends' lodges there. Mozambique it's a tough. Look, I mean, when you set up business in Africa, you take risk, and that's a place where you take risk. Turning our attention to the news, folks. You feel free to jump in anytime. It's a Friday. It's anything goes Friday here, folks. So if you want to ask me a question or something, jump in there. Glock is fantastic. Steyr is another good arms manufacturer. All right, so FN, they make great weapons too. Kangaroo State, without the kangaroos. Let's get to the news. All right, folks, we got a police manhunt after 5 bodies were found this morning of men, suspected robbers, hacked to death near a school in KwaZulu-Natal. The bodies of 5 men who had been hacked to death were discovered by residents near a school in Inanda in KZN this morning. Security Company Reaction Unit South Africa, RUSA, received multiple calls for assistance from residents and school pupils in the vicinity of the Inanda Newton Comprehensive High School. Look at this, right behind the school. You can see the school in the background. It looks like a SAPS guy there. Or maybe that's just a uniform that the security guys are wearing. 3 bodies were initially located before a sweep of the field led to 2 more bodies being found. They must have fled before they got to them. They were hacked to death with pungas. Good God. One of them had an arm detached. Police responded to reports of multiple murders, and upon arrival at the crime scene, 3 bodies were found in a sports ground near the school, whereas the other 2 bodies were discovered in another field about a kilometer away from the first crime scene. What made them walk a kilometer? That's crazy. They must have had some indication that they were chasing the trail or knocked down brush or something like that. Man, but to sweep for a full hour, that's incredible. Something else. Something else. Tony got up at 11:35 or so, haven't been back to sleep. I got up at 4 o'clock. I got out of bed at 4 o'clock. I've been working since 4, so it's already an 8-hour day for me. It's 11:21 in the morning. It's already an 8-hour day. I have researched the news. I have written 2 disciplinary letters and formatted them and sent them to my officers to review for comments before we send these letters out disciplining people for their misconduct. And I have interviewed colleague Creel, and I made a video about Bonnie Blue, 1,000 dudes for you. Tony's got a lot to do. I'm with you, brother. You know, it snowed again twice yesterday. It had snow, then got sidewalk swept. And then it snowed again. And then you got sidewalk swept. And then it snowed again late at night. But it wasn't much snow. It's a little dusting. Speaking of which, maybe Sunday I'll go skiing for the first time in a long time. Take advantage of my pass. Where's that? There it is, my epic pass. So maybe I'll go skiing on Sunday. We'll see. Sunday afternoon. I'll do my news. Earlier. Go skiing. Maybe. We'll see. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it, right? What time Americans usually eat dinner and go to bed? Awkwardly, nobody goes to bed at the same time. You got older folks sometimes take a nap in the afternoon to go to bed early afternoon. You got kids trying to stay up late. You know, I mean, normal bedtime for a lot of people is around 10 to midnight, I'd say. Yep. Yeah, skiing with a busted hip. Yeah, well, Arctic, I got to stretch that muscle. So I'm going to take it on the blue slopes, go slow. And if it goes okay, and don't tear my leg apart, then I'll try something else. Bad weather coming here on Sunday and Monday. Okay, well, bad weather means snow. That'll be good for the slopes. I'll be skiing with the powder. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We go skiing in New York. No, Holden, I'll go skiing here in Pennsylvania. There's a ski lift about 10 kilometers from my house, if that far. Weather is crap on the East Coast. It's fine right now. Not looking bad. Of course, I'm not flying, so I'm not at 10,000 feet, so. All right, what else we got here? I think the Bush war legacy of the vets, PTSD and emotional anxiety was let down by apartheid government wasn't told about the. Yeah, no, you're right about that, Meerkat. A friend who sits on Lockheed board, the jets are made so poor the board refuses to okay them. Wow, that's frightening. He served for many years and went MIA, was declared dead 95, also received medals for service. My adoptive dad was also the best, Well, that's awesome, PK. I'm really glad you had an adoptive dad. So he was MIA and they never found him. Wow, that's horrible. That is horrible. Thank you for sharing that, PK. Okay, what else we got here? All right, so now we're going to go into from the sublime to the surreal. I like that. Sublime to the surreal. The United States imposed sanctions on the South African. He goes, who, me? And unless you're a counterterrorism professional, you're probably not going to have heard of this group that we're going to talk about. So hang in there. I'm about to invest in a snowblower next year. Tired of shoveling. United States imposes sanctions on South African man for leading a white supremacist group. Well, what does that have to do with us? We're not South Africans. Why are we sanctioning someone in South Africa? South African man Hendrik Val Muller has been sanctioned by the U.S. government for being an alleged administrator of the Terrorgram Collective, a group promoting white supremacy worldwide. The Terrorgram Collective. Most people have no idea what we're talking about here. United States government has sanctioned a 26-year-old South African man for his alleged role as an administrator of a terrorist group called the Terrorgram Collective, which promotes white supremacy and violent attacks around the world. In a statement released on Monday by the Department of State, Hendrik Val Muller was one of 3 individuals identified as leaders of Terrorgram, a channel that primarily operates on Telegram. Ciro Daniel Amorim Ferreira, Noah Lecoul, and Hendrik Val Muller are being designated for being leaders of the Terrorgram Collective. As a result, all property interests in the property of these men who are subject to U.S. jurisdiction have been blocked, and all that U.S. nationals are forbidden from transacting with them. Does that mean I can't have Hendrik on as a guest? What about my free speech? You can't censor my free speech. Exactly, Van Mari. How can a 26-year-old be the head of a terror group? They know. Exactly. Department of State said Muller and Brazilian national Amorim were the channel's administrators, while Lecoul, a Croatian national, was described as a senior member of Telegram. Said the group glorifies those who conducted attacks. According to the State Department, the group promotes violent white supremacism, solicits attacks on perceived adversaries, and provides guidance and instructional materials on tactics, methods, and targets for attacks, including on critical infrastructure and government officials. Really? As a 26-year-old. And how does he know all this? Attacks or attempted attacks by Telegram users motivated and facilitated by the group include an October 2022 shooting outside an LGBTQ plus bar in Slovakia. Hadn't heard about it. A July 2024 planned attack on energy facilities in New Jersey. Okay. And an August 2024 knife attack in a mosque in Turkey. Only one of those do we have any jurisdiction over. That would be the one in New Jersey. And it never was executed. Muller, who lives in the Western Cape, denied being associated with the Telegram group and said he was baffled when he learned the U.S. government had listed him as one of its leaders. I'm not affiliated with any terrorist group of any kind. I think it's a matter of mistaken identity, or it could be a sick joke that someone's trying to play, or someone may have spread rumors about me, is what he says. He said he contacted the Department of State for more information after discovering he'd been identified. He said, I do not know any Brazilians or Croatians, nor do I, and I don't know any of the people listed along with my name. I contacted the State Department. The matter is pending at the moment, but we're in the process of getting my name removed. All right. The United States remains deeply concerned about the racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist threat worldwide and committed to countering transnational components of violent white supremacism. Yeah, but they're not opposed to the violent black supremacism, Black Lives Matters, and the violent crime against white Americans perpetrated by black Americans. That's not an issue for them. If you're going to be upset about one, you need to be upset about both. Yep. So here's the actual fact sheet from the office spokesperson for the Department of State. The United States remains deeply concerned about the racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist threat worldwide. Yep. Telegram is the transnational terrorist group that primarily operates on the social media and digital messaging platform Telegram. The group promotes violent white supremacism. Yada, 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 yada. Anyway, so, all right. So here is the Office of Foreign Asset Control, where they've seized his assets. Counterterrorism designations, Venezuela-related and counter-narcotics designations removals. So here's the memorandum, and there's his name right there. Mullah Hendrik Val, Herbertsdal, South Africa. Born July 15th, 1998. Wow. Well, I don't know who the guy is or if he's involved, but they certainly are after him. And this is from the Anti-Defamation League, the terror group collective, international terrorists promoting violence and white supremacy. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. On January 13th, the United States Department of State designated the Telegram Collective and 3 of its foreign leaders as specifically designated global terrorists. It's a decentralized network of white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and accelerationist groups and individuals connected primarily through the encrypted social networking app Telegram. Well, if it's encrypted, how do you know about it? Did somebody give you screen captures? Volunteers say that Stilfontein shaft is littered with body parts of miners who fell and died while trying to resurface. Are you sure they're not body parts from people who were consumed by the cannibals? They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the zamas. Ooh, perish the thought. Perish the thought. Rum time. What's going on there? Bodies without heads. Stilfontein volunteer on what he saw underground during rescue operations. A harrowing account from Mandla Charles, one of the volunteers involved in the rescue operation at Stilfontein, has shed light on the gruesome conditions faced by the illegal miners. We saw bodies of people in pieces. Some were not complete. There were body parts such as arms. We saw heads lying there without their bodies. On Thursday, 78 bodies have been retrieved. 246 zamazamas were removed. According to Charles, the situation underground is really bad, and what they witnessed will have a lasting impact on their mental health. The things we saw down there, even after days, months, even years, would impact someone's mental health. Counseling don't help. We're traditional people. We need to cleanse. Counseling is a Western tradition. Culturally, we need to cleanse our bodies of the dead people we were touching down there. Yeah, okay. All right, buddy. Yeah, you're full of crap. You don't need counseling. All right, Western concept. Well, then you just suffer with lifelong trauma. Dingbat. The Stilfontein Crisis Committee, all kinds of groups forming up here, considers murder charges against government over miners' deaths. Be careful what you wish for there, Stilfontein Crisis Committee. You and your leader may find yourself, Christopher Rutledge, may find yourself in trouble. Because if it's determined that you provided material support to people committing crimes against the state, well, then you might just find yourself in trouble. So we'll see. We shall see. The Democratic Alliance admits the truth, and we heard it earlier from colleague Creel. Everybody stole my thunder. I want to make a video about this. The genuine matric rate is not 87%. That's pure fiction. You have to start with grade 1 and advance to matric results. Over 1 million people started in grade 1. Only 690,000 or 700,000 got a matric. So what's the true figure? Well, the DA says the true figure is 53.6%. Ouch. And remember, that's not even considering the 30% rate. That's just the people who passed the low standards. So it's really only half of the students who entered 12 years ago. The DA's Dalmain Christians said transparency in reporting the real pass rate was crucial for holding the government accountable and driving the necessary reforms to reduce dropouts. 100%. 100%. The real pass rate is actually less than 54%. I'm with them there 100%. Well, 5 people have been arrested for the apparent assassination of an Mpumalanga commander. Lieutenant Colonel Peter Pretorius was murdered, shot dead in an apparent hit yesterday. He was on his way to see an informant. 5 people have been arrested in connection with the murder of police officer in Ermelo in Mpumalanga after he was shot dead in an apparent hit. Acting Provincial Police Commissioner Major General Zeph Mkwanwanzi said 5 people, aged 29 to 40, were arrested within 24 hours of the murder of Lieutenant Colonel Peter Pretorius, 59, who was commander of the Vehicle Identification Unit. The vehicle believed to have been used in the commission of the crime has also been found torched this morning next to Extension 7. After Pretorius turned into Dr. Nickel Street, a man standing on the corner used an AK-47 to open fire. Then he jumped in a white BMW and fled the scene. 8 holes in his Zuzubaki were the silent testimony to the hail of bullets fired at Pretorius. He shot 7 times in the neck, chest, arm, and stomach. The critically injured officer was airlifted by an ambulance helicopter. He was to be transferred to Mill Park Hospital in Joburg, but the helicopter was forced to land at the med clinic in Ermelo so he could be stabilized. He died shortly after arriving. He was driving an official vehicle when he was shot. The vehicle was riddled with bullet holes. He was an excellent detective and absolutely passionate about fighting crime. Despite the onslaught against us, we will not be deterred to bring criminals to justice. Wow. Rest in peace, Lieutenant Colonel Pretorius. Wow. The war on cops. The war on cops. Horrible, folks. Horrible. 84 people here, 58 likes. Some of you are sleeping on the job. Hit that like button. Come on. Make it happen. A train carriage catches a light in Cape Town. Just magic. Train car just caught on fire. Nobody did it. Just caught on fire. Please. Please, 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 please. A train carriage caught a light in Woodstock during peak commuting hours. City Cape Town Fire and Rescue Services spokesman Jermaine Carlsay said it appeared that there were no passengers aboard the train. Well, somebody was aboard it. Somebody put it on fire. It didn't just magically self-combust, self-immolation. The Economic Freedom Fighters and the South African BDS divestment scam coalition call for accountability for Israel post-ceasefire. And in further news, the EFF did not account for accountability in Sudan from the government of Burhan or the RSF. The EFF has not called for accountability from the terrorist in Cabo Delgado. The EFF has not called for accountability by the police forces in Maputo murdering civilians. The EFF has not called for accountability in Niger's military overthrowing the government, or Mali, or Burkina Faso. The EFF has not called for accountability in Myanmar or in communist China. The EFF has only called for accountability in Israel because they're a bunch of self-loathing hate wankers who are just illegitimate. Only certain people matter to them, not black people, but Palestinians, because it works for them. It works for them. So, EFF. The rapidly shrinking, honey, I shrunk the EFF. Honey, I shrunk the EFF. Well, they're claiming that 100,000 Palestinians have killed. If the 100,000 Palestinians have been killed, then the population is going to drop significantly. Well, this puff piece from the toilet paper of record, The Independent Online, a story about Tony Yangani, in which he just kind of dismisses Fikile Mabulula. People complaining about my pronunciation, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it now. Fikile Mabulula. Anyway, so how would you pronounce Mabulula? It's spelled that way. Babalula, babaloo, babaloo. Yeah, Tony Yangani, as if we care what Tony Yangani's got to say. Hope and Tanzi puts the story. Leadership should not involve slander. Tony Yangani responds to Fikili Babalula. Well, this isn't slander, Tony Yangani. You're a convicted criminal who did prison time. Not much of it, not enough. Yep, he says, I've told him, Bex, we can disagree on many political matters, including President Ramaphosa. That's okay, but we must preserve our comradeship, friendship, and brotherhood despite these political differences. Anyway, who cares what Tony Yanni's got to say? Mystery company linked to SA Rugby boss Oberholzer. What is the News 24 trying to imply here? Was something untoward going on? Meanwhile, Saru is still in trouble financially. Saru CEO Rian Oberholzer is the sole director of a company with the same name as the failed equity bid for a part of the Springboks commercial night. It's not the same name. One uses number, one uses the word spelled out, 1 and 1. So it looks the same, but it's not the same. So that's a false leap right there. Anyway, he said that Eddie Jordan, the Irish business, denied he ever charged Saru a 15% transaction fee. So it's going back and forth complication. This is more proof that the leadership of Saru needs to be replaced, and I'm available. If you need a director, if You need CEO, happy to do it. I'll take over Saru. We'll run it like a business, and we'll allow foreign equity to come in a minority stakeholding share. And quite frankly, I would sell shares of the company, at least 15, maybe 20%, to South Africans. Small shares. You can't buy more than 100 shares, something like that. Yeah, lots of less than 100. Yeah, so South Africans, like the Green Bay Packers, you should be able to own the Springboks. Buy some shares. Yep. Anyway, so this just goes on and on. It's crazy stuff back and forth. But there is a domestic group that's looking to get involved here. Trying to find it down here. It includes, of course, come on, where are we at? There it is. Johan Rupert. So Johan Rupert, Marco Mazzotti, and Johan Leroux from the Bulls, Sharks, and Stormers, respectively, apparently have the intention of putting together a group for a local deal to own that portion. They would invest at least $75 million US, and I'm guessing it's for a 20% stake. It doesn't say. But Gabe McKenzie saying we need to move on from the group that already made an offer, who's made another offer now. South African Airways, the indigenous dodo bird of Africa, the mainland Africa's only dodo bird remaining, South African Airways, will relaunch flights between Joburg and Dar es Salaam because that's such a big moneymaker. Yeah, that's just going to bring in the cash left and right. Not. You want to make money? Plan a flight between Beijing and Joburg. Multiple flights. That's how you make money. Yep. Chevron's no oil discovery has put Namibia in a tough spot. Another major blow to their oil dream. Chevron's exploration well Kapana 1X in the Orange Basin did not yield commercial hydrocarbon reserves. They have the potential of oil production with major companies like Total Energies and Shell discovering an estimated 2.6 billion barrels in the region. But Chevron is shutting down production. Follows a disappointing announcement by Shell just a week earlier. Shell revealed a $400 million write-off. Wow. So Chevron and Shell have given up on parts of that block. So does it really have 2.6 billion barrels of oil? An anti-AIDS program, that would be PEPFAR, is in peril after nurses were discovered performing abortions with our money in Mozambique. Sorry, Jessica, you're asking for Mozambique news. This is the only news I have on Mozambique, and it's not good. These are our tax dollars, and they can only be spent on HIV, not performing abortions. If you want to perform abortions, pay for them yourself. We will not fund the murder of children. The flagship USAID program on HIV/AIDS is in jeopardy. A senior Republican warned yesterday after U.S. officials said 4 nurses in Mozambique performed abortions that were banned under the multi-billion-dollar program that has saved millions of lives. Service providers that get funding through PEPFAR are barred from providing abortion services under the rules U.S. foreign assistance being used for abortion-related activities. But the program has still faced criticism from anti-abortion Republicans. A review of service providers in Mozambique where abortion is legal found that 4 nurses performed a total of 21 abortions since January 2021, which means that PEPFAR will be suspended most likely for Mozambique. And that would be devastating for those with HIV because Africans don't pay for antiretrovirals. Africans don't pay for education. We do. Comes out of our pockets. Your mess, our money. Yep. Well, Textron 412, a Huey family helicopter, approved sale by the State Department to Zambia. There you go. The U.S. greenlights the sale of Bell Textron 412 military helicopters to Zambia. These are super Hueys, man. These are awesome aircraft. An awesome aircraft. United States Department has approved the sale of Bell Textron's 412 enhanced performance medium-lift military transport helicopters to the Zambian Defense Force. The deal is valued at $100 million US to provide Zambia with an undisclosed quantity of aircraft, associated radio communication, navigation system, parts, ground, and test equipment. Same sort of deal I put together for Uganda. You get a maintenance package for 3 years, you get the parts for 3 years, and you get technical support for 3 years, and you buy all the equipment. Boom. That's how it works. Malawi has renewed their support for Morocco's claim of sovereignty over Western Sahara. This is going to piss off some African states at the African Union. Moroccan Foreign Minister Bourita expressed the country's commitment to boosting bilateral ties with Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, and extending cooperation at all levels. Nancy Temba, the country's foreign affairs minister for Malawi, conveyed her country's support during the visit to Rabat, where she held talks with her counterpart, Nasser Bourita. Malawi has expressed its support for the UN-led political process as the exclusive framework for reaching a realistic, practical, and sustainable solution to the regional dispute, which will never happen. Western Sahara is not going to be solved in our lifetimes. it is, maybe Donald Trump can do it. Well, Comoros did satisfactorily complete its election, but with the opposition boycotting, it was all but done deal. 28 of the 33 seats in parliament went to President Assoumani's party. Shocker, not. Yep, the convention for the renewal of the Comoros, President Azali retained his majority in the parliament, 28 out of 33 seats. The 66-year-old Assoumani first served his presidency, which ended in 2006, and he came back in 2016, and he's won 3 terms since then, despite constitutional limitations. He sidestepped. The United States calls on Rwanda to stop jamming our GPS. State Department has called on Rwanda to cease using GPS jamming equipment in the eastern DRC, where millions of conflict-displaced people are in urgent need of aid. They condemned the alliance between the Congo's army, the FDLR, and call for dialogue with armed groups in the region. Oh, here's always one that's entertaining. The top 10 countries, countries with helicopters. Check this out. Top 10 military powers in 2025. These are always comical because you know they're not true. Let's see what they've got. Okay, here we go. So the top 10, I got that one. That's helicopters. There's the military. Let's start with the helicopters. Top 10 helicopters. All right. So here we go. Countries in Africa with the most helicopters. All right. Number 1 on here is Egypt with 348, ranked 11th in the world. Algeria with 299. Angola with 116. Tunisia with 101. South Africa with 87 helicopters. I find that implausible. Kenya at 85. Morocco 78. Nigeria 66. Sudan 64. Ethiopia 33. I find that implausible for South Africa. Well, top 10 military strongest countries in Africa. Let's see how funny this one is, okay? All right. Egypt, okay. Algeria, Nigeria. South Africa, 4th. No way. It's the 4th strongest military in Africa. Ethiopia, Angola, Morocco, DRC, Sudan, and Libya. I would have Rwanda in that list. Libya's military is in disarray. That's funny. All right. Well, Rwanda announced massive discovery of oil. Fantastic, yes. The Rwanda government has officially announced its first oil discovery, identifying 13 reservoirs within Lake Kivu. Wow. That's incredible. Marks the significant milestone in the country's efforts to diversify its economy beyond traditional sectors like agriculture and tourism. Wow. According to the United States Department of Commerce, Rwanda accounted for 31% of the world's tungsten exports and 14% of global tin exports in 2022. It also contributes niobium, tantalum, vanadium, and gold, valued at $500 million. And then after they announced the oil find, they backtrack. The same day. They backtracked from an earlier claim they discovered its first oil reserves at Lake Kivu, saying it was still in exploratory phase and looking for partners. It's a 2-dimensional seismic survey of Lake Kivu. Identified 13 structural pockets of potential drilling locations. So they didn't find oil. They just found places where they can drill for oil, and they blew it. They told everybody they had oil, got them all excited. Well, the United States has struck back not only at the RSF in Sudan, but at the government itself under the hands of General Burhan. Sanctions hit the leader over the civil war. Mind you, this is a civil war that's gone on for a few years, and Joe Biden has sat around idly and watched it happen. The U.S. imposed sanctions on Sudan's de facto president, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, as punishment for the brutal military campaign he's led the country in a devastating civil war. Days before Sleepy Joe leaves office, he took this action. U.S. has accused Dagalo and his rebel group, the Rapid Support Forces, largely composed of ethnic Arabs, of targeting black Sudanese in the East African country's Darfur region. Well, they should have also targeted the government, which they're finally doing now. Should have happened a long time ago. Well, Sudan's military, according to a New York Times report, has used chemical weapons. This is not going well in Sudan, folks. The determination came as the United States announced sanctions against Sudanese military chiefs, saying there was strong evidence of atrocities in the country. Well, there's strong evidence of atrocities in Ethiopia, but they're not saying anything about them. We've actually seen videos of people being executed extrajudicially. Sudan's military has used chemical weapons on at least 2 occasions against a paramilitary group and is battling for control of the country. Weapons deployed recently in remote areas of Sudan targeting members of the RSF and paramilitaries. They've been fighting since April of 2023, when Joe Biden was president. He was presented with Myanmar military coup 9 days after he became president. He was presented a year later with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then a year after that, he was presented with Sudan's splitting in 2. And he said and did nothing to any of these countries. Guinea's main opposition parties have called for withdrawal from the junta-led legislative body. The main opposition coalition in Guinea has called for its members to withdraw from the country's legislative body after the ruling junta missed the deadline for return to democratic rule. The Force Vivre de Guinée coalition includes the country's main opposition parties, called for its members to withdraw from the National Transitional Council in a statement late Wednesday. Wow. So it's all falling apart in Guinea, too. I'd love to have coups there. Nigerian army says it's killed 76 Islamist militants in Borno State. Wow. They're believed to belong to Boko Haram and its offshoot ISWAP. Well, 76 is quite a few. The United Kingdom's Chagos Islands deal has been put on hold until Trump gets a chance to evaluate it. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump will be consulted on the UK's deal to hand over the Chagos Islands, where there has been a joint U.S.-UK military base, to Mauritius. That would be Diego Garcia. UK announced in October it would cede sovereignty of the archipelago in the Indian Ocean, but maintain control of the base on the largest island, Diego Garcia, under a 99-year lease. But now that deal is going to be reviewed by Trump, apparently. South Korea is very confusing. Did they arrest the president? Did they not arrest the president? Did they charge the president? Did they not charge the president? Was he impeached? Was he not impeached? He survived the first impeachment vote. Then he was impeached. Then they went to arrest him. He wasn't arrested. So then they went and he surrendered and he was detained and he's held in prison for 48 hours. Was he been arrested? Apparently he hasn't been arrested. We're still waiting to see if Yuk Sun Yeol has been actually arrested. South Korean investigators seek to arrest president for leading insurrection. He didn't lead insurrection. He declared martial law, and when the parliament overrode him, he rescinded it within hours. Why are they going after this guy? Investigators say he abused his power when he tried to impose martial law. He would become the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested, if he is arrested. But he didn't do anything illegal. What are they? No one's talking about this. So annoying. Well, the ceasefire deal has been reached between Hamas and the Israeli government, but will it actually happen? Will the hostages be freed by Sunday? We're expecting to have them freed by Sunday. Pending approval by Security Council and the government, the agreement taking effect, the release of the hostages will be implemented according to plan framework in which the hostages are expected to be released on Sunday. Well, this is going to be a harrowing story. Let's see if the media actually covers the people who come back and what happened to them. Women have probably been gang raped for a year. I wonder if any of them come back with any babies, They've been gone for 18 months. Probably a few of them have delivered babies. Danish Prime Minister tells Trump it's up to Greenland to decide independence. Funny, Denmark wasn't telling Greenland that before Trump mentioned it. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said on Wednesday that she had spoken on the phone with Donald Trump and told him that it's up to Greenland. In the conversation, the Prime Minister referring to statements of Chairman of the Greenlandic Parliament, Mukta Egede, that Greenland is not for sale. That's so funny. Greenland is not for sale. Everything's for sale. Nice try. Canada's retaliatory tariff scheme is not going well. Some provinces balking at it. They want to cause the most pain in the United States. That's what the Canadian government's focused on, causing pain to Americans. Well, go ahead. Put your little tariffs up there. We'll put our tariffs up there. We'll see whose economy collapses first. It won't be ours. Act like fools. China is kissing the ring. Literally. The Chinese are sending their vice president to lick the boots of Donald Trump at the inauguration. This has never happened before. It's a two-pronged approach. The incoming president trying to sweeten up Trump by showing respect while also sending the message that we are ready to fight back. Trump had invited Xi Jinping to his inauguration. China's foreign minister said Friday that Vice President Hang Seng will attend as the special representative for Xi. Well, there you go. Chinese sucking up. They want in on the action too. Well, the series of actions, Joe Biden is constraining the ability and maneuver space of the incoming Trump administration with its nonsense, including lifting Cuba off the terrorist list. Wow. The president has issued policy decisions in a number of areas in the final days of his term to cement his agenda, including environmental justice, prison reform, and immigration. Oh, my goodness. Just one thing after another. So coastal drilling, he banned 625 million acres of U.S. coastal waters. National monuments, he created 2 national monuments in California. In Cuba, the Biden administration announced it would remove Cuba from the list of state-sponsored terrorism. He granted clemency to 1,500 criminals. U.S. Steel, he blocked the sale of U.S. Steel. Made up rules for artificial intelligence, and goes on and on and on and on. Look at all these things. But we're going to have a smooth transition. We're going to do all we can to make it easy for the Trump administration to come in. Liar, liar, puns on fire. Biden has just commuted another 2,500 drug offenders. Yeah, that's right. The action aimed at inmates who received harsher sentences based on old disparities in drug laws will be the broadest commutation of individual sentences ever issued by a U.S. president. Setting more records of incompetence and corruption, Joe Biden is going to commute the sentence of 2,500 drug offenders. There you go. Crazy. It's an important step towards righting historic wrongs. What that means is letting black criminals out of prison. That's what that means, righting historical wrongs. TikTok is set for the ban on Sunday, but it's still working today, folks. I can attest to that. The TikTok site is still up and working this morning, so we'll see what happens on Sunday if I have to VPN into it. Yeah, stop it. Phone, come on. Phone, see, this is annoying. Waiting for, oh, there it is. As soon as I turn around, it comes up. So let me go and find the TikTok. Come on. Phone is acting up today. What's the deal? One more. There it is. TikTok. Let's see what we got on there.
If you touch that again, I shall kill you right now. Okay. Do not touch this. This is a new...
I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too.
It's Mitch Hedberg. Committed suicide. Sad story. Funny comedian. Sad story. No, I'm not going to learn Mandarin. There's no need to. I'm not going to the Chinese Communist Red Note website. Well, the Trump administration, previously opposed to TikTok when he was president, is now in favor of TikTok, and they may step in to stop it from being banned. With the pending law declaring the social media platform TikTok illegal in the United States, set to take effect on Sunday, the incoming administration of U.S. President-elect Trump is signaling that it plans to try to find a way to prevent the service from going offline. Well, we'll see. We will see. And I'll tell you on Sunday. Eric Adams has went to kiss the ring. He's down in Florida now, too. The New York mayor is under federal indictment, has spoken warmly about President Trump, probably wants a pardon in recent weeks, and has said he's open to receiving a pardon from him. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. Eric Adams going to kiss the ring. Did New York City residents pay for his trip? No. All right. The Trump team, as I mentioned yesterday, has asked 3 senior U.S. career diplomats to resign. That's unusual. 3 career diplomats, all involved in the management of personnel. That sends a real signal about what's going to happen there. Trump has announced the External Revenue Service. We already have the Infernal Revenue Service, or Internal Revenue Service has been plaguing our existence for my entire life. Now we get the External Revenue Service to plague imports, saying that that's how foreign countries pay their fair share. I don't think that's how it's going to work, Trump. I'm just saying. He announced it on Truth Social. We'll see. Santa Mayorkas. Alexandra Mayorkas, the inept Secretary of Homeland Security. His final tally, $3 billion in vacation time for employees. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas blessed his employees with another 3 days of taxpayer-funded vacation time, bringing his 4-year total to more than 6 weeks, or $3 billion of bonus time for employees who got paid for not working. Yep. Wow. Spending watchdogs wonder how a department that watches the borders, operates the Coast Guard and Secret Service, and staffs the airport screening checkpoints can afford to give so much time off. Yeah, exactly. Rudy Giuliani has escaped not paying the full amount of that judgment with a promise not to slander the ladies involved in the election. An agreement allowed the former mayor of New York City to keep his apartments and other valuables in return for an undisclosed payment to 2 election workers he defamed in the 2020 vote. Yep. The past 4 years have been a living nightmare. We've fought to clear our names, restore our reputations, and prove that we did nothing wrong, the woman said in a statement. Today is a major milestone in our journey. We've reached an agreement. We can now move on forward with our lives. So the deal is over. There'll be no more payments. But he really had a huge judgment against him, so I guess he paid a partial and they went with it. Well, military members, former military members, illegally wearing their uniforms and committing political protests should be arrested. They should be arrested. If they have a reserve commitment, they should be ordered back to active duty and be prosecuted under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You have no right, no privilege, and it's irresponsible to wear a military uniform indicating your rank, your service affiliation, your decorations, your name in public to politically protest. It's against federal law, and this person needs to be prosecuted. This former National Guard captain who fake news Guardian lied to the world about this morning, and I'll show you why. I realize we're such hypocrites, how growing numbers of U.S. veterans were moved to protest over Gaza. Well, I'm not protesting because there's nothing to be moved about. Josh Shirley, a attention-seeking former Army infantryman, says military personnel have enough experience in conflict to view what they are seeing in Gaza as atrocities and feel the duty to speak up. But Josh Shirley, where are you on Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh, Transdniester, Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province, Central African Republic, Mali, Niger, Somalia, Nigeria? Silence. So you're just a hypocrite. Anyway, they talk about Major Harrison Mann, an American Jew who quit being a foreign area officer working at the Defense Intelligence Agency because he disagreed. That's his prerogative. But they go on down here, and where's it at? I'm trying to find this here. Oh, yeah, there it is. Captain Gilbo, 36, a former Army captain, spent much of her career as an intelligence officer at the Defense Intelligence Agency. Much of her career as an intelligence officer at the Defense Intelligence Agency. That's nonsense. That's simply not true. See it right there? There it is. Wow. She says she resigned in 2023 after 17 years of service. So here she is, spewing her garbage in Congress, illegally wearing a military uniform with rank insignia and her name on it and her rank and her branch affiliation. This is illegal. This is a crime. She should be arrested. Okay, why can't I hear that? Oh, the sound is off. There we go. Let's turn the sound up all the way. Start again.
Israel is burning children alive. Israel is burning children alive for 1 year. I have watched Israel burn children alive. You don't care about veterans. You don't care about American values. You are destroying.
She doesn't care about veterans. She doesn't care about American values. She is a criminal, and there should be an arrest warrant for her. That is a crime. That is stolen valor. That is against the law. What she is doing is against the law. Against the law. This woman must be arrested and not paraded around as some sort of heroine. She is not a heroine. She is a slimy, slimy human being. And if you go look at her her LinkedIn account, you will see that fake news Guardian lied. Let me go back to what the Guardian said. She has spent much of her career at the Defense Intelligence Agency as an intelligence officer. That's an outright lie. She's from Cleveland, Ohio, according to this, or at least lives there. She's a former all-source intelligence analyst, executive senior advisor to AVP. Okay? All right, so going down here, she has 4,000 followers. She is a captain in the Army National Guard for 10 years, 9 years and 7 months. And she was an all-source intelligence analyst before that, 1 year and 8 months. And then somewhere I read that she was a medic before that. So where does it say she's a medic? Somewhere. Anyway, she worked at Defense Intelligence Agency for 1 year and 8 months. Oh, here's all her experience. Excuse me. There we go. Cyber Operations Officer, all source. Okay. She worked 2016 to 2019. She was at the Defense Intelligence Agency for 3 years. She's a combat medic. Here it is. 7 years as a combat medic. 7 years as a combat medic. So she didn't become an intelligence officer until after that. At least 2013, probably 2016. So she worked Defense Intelligence Agency for a total of 3 years. If it's a 17-year career, that's not much of a career. That's a tiny fraction of a career. A tiny fraction. Lies. Do you know why they do it? They do it to steal valor. The Guardian has no knowledge of what they're doing, and they do it intentionally. They steal valor. Here's an Army officer who resigned, American Jew, who felt that his views were more important than the country, but he resigned, so that's on him. He resigned short of being able to retire. He resigned over Gaza, so we're never going to really make a big deal about the Israelis bombing hospitals. But I'm sorry, Major Harrison Mann, what big deal did you make? What statement did you make about Myanmar? What statement did you make about the Uyghurs? What statement did you make about Georgia, Nagorno-Karabakh? What statement did you make about the Balkans? What statement did you make about Cabo Delgado or Sudan? Not a damn word. So you're a total hypocrite. You didn't care when those black, brown, and white civilians were killed illegitimately and our government was involved in one way or another. You only care when you get a chance to virtue signal about Israel. Piss off. Nonsense. Nonsense. How does a medic go to Defense Intelligence? Oh, that's very easy. I'll explain that in a sec. Well, I'll explain now. I was in the Signal Corps, and I went back to university and became an officer. What you do as an officer is almost never tied to what you do as enlisted because you compete for a branch, and it has nothing to do with your previous service. It has everything to do with your qualifications and availability slots and your rank, order, merit. The higher you are, you're going to get your choice. I wanted intelligence, and for me, it was difficult to get because fully 35 to 40% of the people that come into my year group as intelligence officers were women, whereas the Army average was 12%. We have 3 or 4 times the percentage of women in our branch that the others have because there's none in infantry. There was none in aviation, combat aviation. There was none in our artillery. That's changed since then. So women had to go somewhere. So they went to signal, they went to quartermaster, they went to finance, they went to intelligence. So we had a lot of women. Because I was a male, I had to do especially well and be above all my peers in order to get my choice, which my first choice, which is intelligence. So that's how I became an intelligence officer, because I wanted to do it. So that's probably, she competed for it and got it. Much easier for a woman to get it, though, even these days. Milwaukee's Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball, has passed away just days short of his 91st birthday. He went from being a player, unsuccessful player, to a very successful broadcaster and movie star. He was a catcher. Bob Uecker, the voice of his hometown Milwaukee Brewers, whose career earned the moniker Mr. Baseball and honors in the Hall of Fame, has died. He was 90 years of age. The team announced he died Thursday morning, calling it one of the most difficult days in Milwaukee Brewers history. Even in the face of this challenge, his enthusiasm for life has always been present. He suffered from small cell lung cancer about a year ago. Wow. Best known for his colorful comedian and broadcaster who earned his nickname during one of his numerous appearances on Johnny Carson's late night show. Born and raised in Milwaukee, he was a beloved member of the baseball community and a pillar of the sport in Wisconsin. When the Brewers clinched the National League Central title in 2024, manager Pat Murphy threw an arm around Uecker in the locker room, pulling him tight as players readied themselves to shower Mr. Baseball and champagne. There is no one who epitomizes a champion the way this man does right here, Murphy proclaimed as the players chanted, "Ueck!" Yep. He signed his first professional contract with Milwaukee Braves in 1956 and reached the majors in 1962. He lasted 6 seasons in the big leagues as a backup catcher, finishing with a paltry 200 batting average and 14 home runs. He won a World Series ring with St. Louis in 1964 and also played for Atlanta and Philadelphia. He said, career highlights, I had 2, he often joked. I got an intentional walk from Sandy Koufax, and I got out of a rundown against the Mets. Yeah, he also did the movies. Pretty famous guy. Bob Uecker. Yep. David Lynch, the director famous for Twin Peaks, has passed away at the age of 78. Gosh, we're all getting older. David Lynch was 78. Director and writer David Lynch, best known for his dark, surrealistic films and shows. A movie like Blue Velvet and TV series like Twin Peaks, has died at the age of 78. Family confirmed his death in a Facebook post. Mulholland Drive, Elephant Man, Blue Velvet. But I remember him best for Twin Peaks. Wow. Twin Peaks. There he is with Mel Brooks. Oh, there he is with Isabella Rossellini back in 1990. Wow. 1990. If he's 78 in 1990, that's 35 years ago. So he would, yeah, okay. Boy, Rossellini's getting up there too. Yeah, David Lynch is dead fleshing. Yeah. Well, a white professor who's Jewish is filing a lawsuit with Penn. Yep. Amy Wax fights suspension by suing university over discriminatory speech code. University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. A white Jewish professor has sued the University of Pennsylvania for breach of contract, accusing the institution of racist double standards for suspending her over race-related comments while allowing other employees to smear Jews without consequence. The tenured law professor, known for outspoken views on race and culture, asked a federal court to lift the sanctions imposed on her last year after a faculty hearing board found that her politically incorrect remarks violated the university's speech policy. University has a speech policy? Well, the problem here is that private institutions like the University of Pennsylvania are not subject to the First Amendment, but the lawsuit has argued that the school created a hostile work environment, and that you cannot do. Yep, you are only protected under the First Amendment from the government. Does it protect you from private institutions or people's private property? You can't say and do what you want wherever you want. And that's how it is. The government cannot limit your speech. Well, France has extradited an accused rapist who committed this crime just down the road from me, a half hour away, in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. France extradites a U.S. man who allegedly confessed to sex assault on Facebook. Ian Clearly was charged in Pennsylvania with sexual assault in 2021 after he messaged his alleged victim. He said, "So I blanked you." In April, he was detained in France. Let me show you how stupid this man is. Okay, Ian Cleary. The statute of limitations for rape, sexual assault in Pennsylvania is 12 years. This occurred, when did this occur? 2014. If he waited till 2026 to be so stupid they couldn't have charged him. An American man accused of sexually assaulting a college student in her dorm. Not that I would want him to avoid prosecution. I'm just saying he's stupid. And later sending a confession to her in a Facebook message was handed to U.S. authorities in Paris, according to French prosecutors. Ian Cleary, 31 of Saratoga, California, was charged on June 21st with sexual assault by a Pennsylvania judge after he allegedly wrote, "So I blanked you," in a Facebook message to his alleged victim, prompting the police to eventually reopen the 2013 case. So 2013, this year, 2025, at some point this year, later this year, the statute of limitations would have expired and he would have been free and clear. He could have gotten away with it. But a couple of years ago, he had to open his mouth. What a dumbass. The arrest and extradition give me renewed faith that after many years of waiting, the justice system can work when survivors persist with the help and support of family, friends, and advocates and attorneys, Cleary's accuser, Shannon Keeler, said in a statement from her attorney. Yep. Cleary was detained in Metz in northeastern France during a police stop in April, 11 years after the alleged sexual assault and 3 years after he was declared a wanted fugitive by the Marshal Service. He told a magistrate that he arrived in France from Albania. His extradition to the United States comes after a long and painful search for him for justice by Keeler. According to Keeler, Cleary stalked her and then raped her in her dorm in 2013 when they were both students at Gettysburg College, just down the road here in Pennsylvania. She immediately reported the incident to police, underwent a rape test, but no arrest was made. Keeler previously told AP that authorities indicated at the time that it would be difficult to prosecute a sexual assault when the alleged victim had been drinking. So, well, his admission is going to get him put in jail. Dumbass. Stupid people. Criminals are dumb most of the time, and they bring it on themselves. All right, folks, 87 likes, not quite to 100 yet. Things that government does right now. Separation, promotion of crime, promotion of hate. Yep. Heat wave in Minnesota, what is it? Is it 15 degrees Fahrenheit? It's 38 here. It's above freezing, so yeah, that's good news here. Melt all the stuff. All right, let's get back to the comments here. That's the news for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Don't run off. Be sure to hit the like button. And let's get to what some of people's comments here. Nuclear power is fantastic. Sudan split in two. Yes, it did, Helene Henstock, and it's splitting in two again. That's the problem. Trump's inauguration moved indoors next week. Oh, has it been, Hendo? Okay. Julie Barons, you mentioned an update on the Mark Liffman case. Did you upload it? No, I didn't get around to making that video. Boy, yes, that's why I was up 4 o'clock this morning doing disciplinary reports and letters to the people who are being disciplined. Last night, total cock up. So the heater in the veterans building that we have in the kitchen stopped working. It's a whole long, complicated story. I went in to sign some checks to pay for bills because they have to be co-signed. So I went in there. It was supposed to be a 10-minute stop. Signed the checks, done, hit the road because I had to go pick up something at the store. And I wound up spending a couple hours there because I found out that the heater wasn't working in the kitchen. We had a young man back there who was in the kitchen. He came back to the front office for something. I looked at his hands there. And that's the moment he came back. I said, "Oh, you're working." He said, "Yeah, the kitchen, the heat's on." And that's when I found out. So then that's it. We shut the kitchen down. We can't have people working back there when the temperature's so low. And then the lady who was working there said, "Well, I've called. I found an HVAC technician. He's coming in at 5. I said, "Okay, great. That's a couple hours away." So I said, "This is what you do." I went out and told people who were at the bar and the rest at the time, I said, "We can't serve any food right now because people can't cook. Temperature's got to be fixed back there. We've got a technician coming." All right, so we took care of that. And I told the bartender. So then I told the people in front office, I said, "Okay, now what you do is that when the bartender comes in for the next shift at 5 p.m., you would brief him." It turned out it's a woman. It wasn't him. It was the wrong bartender. It doesn't matter who the bartender was. You brief the bartender, tell them not to announce that the kitchen is operations are suspended. But if somebody asks for food, apologize and say, "We can't serve food right now because the technician is here fixing the heat, and we can't put people back to cooking while the heat's being fixed. He's got the roof open." So that's all that was supposed to be told. So what happened? Somebody starts sending text message to the wait staff, to the runners, the expediters, and the cooks. And suddenly, I got employees at this place deciding that they don't have to work. "Oh, I'm not coming if it's cold." Well, you weren't supposed to know it's cold because it won't be cold when you come in. And now you're not there, and now we have nobody. So I had to go back in. After I came back from doing my shopping, I had to go back in there and unscrew this mess. And it was a headache. It was a headache. And as a result, fully 40% of the people there just got up and left last night because they couldn't get food. And it didn't do the reputation of the place any good. And it was all preventable. Had people simply followed my basic instructions, it would have been preventable. We would have had to cook. The heat was on. The technician fixed it. He actually came early. Boom. And people could have got back in the kitchen. But no, then we had nobody, so we had to shut down. Own goals never helps. Rwanda should be investing in renewable energy, not petroleum. No, they should extract all the petroleum they can get. If all the oil on Earth is sucked up, will we implode? Nope, Venmark, because every day more oil is being produced by the planet. The same forces that created petroleum in the first place have been producing it all along. They're producing more right now. Julie says, you mentioned... Oh, okay, I already got that. Sorry. Okay. What else we got here? Split. Have you looked at Angie? No. Oh, it's Nick. Okay. Yes, already got... What's this? Might want to rewatch Barack Hussein Obama's Cairo speech. Why would I want to rewatch it? Wouldn't take a Harley as a gift? Ooh, they're crap. I think a lot of people take exception to that. Live within a half-mile of nuclear waste cleaning facility, I have no problems. Well, I'd rather not live within a half-mile of nuclear waste cleaning facility, but just saying. Yeah, not for sale means you want a bigger price. Exactly. Everything has a price. What I find ridiculous is that these leaders who sit in their high towers are so willing to send us all to die for pride. Yeah, well, willy-nilly. They just make a decision and send people to their deaths. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. Sorry, I'm just checking something here really quickly. Okay, got it. Okay, and what else we got here? North Korea is paying the White House. What are they paying the White House? Biden is rushing to give away the store before new management. Yep, that's right. TikTok won't stop media, but slowly become unusable after inauguration. Yep. Okay. Unless they stop. Yeah, they're kissing on Don's ring. Yep. Kiss the ring. Is this the backdoor ring? Will the flat tax make it this time? I don't think so. By the way, there's this comedian. I guess he's Finnish. This was funny. I'll play this. It's so funny. I sent it in the WhatsApp group, one of the WhatsApp groups. I think it was the members WhatsApp group. Let me see, members. Where's the members group at? There it is. Okay. Here it is. This guy's funny. I'll play it for you.
I never have to sneeze.
Why does it do that? It went to like something that wasn't the right place. Okay, let's go back there. That's annoying. It went to when it wasn't. Okay.
I don't know if you have noticed, but English is my second language. It is. Normally I speak Finnish. It's very common in Finland. And English is sometimes hard for me because it's so different. Like English is full of these, these silent letters.
Letters
like
you don't
letters
use.
that you write down, but never say. Like write it down, but that letter is only for the paper, not for the mouth. And in the Finnish language, we don't have any silent letters. And I think I might have a small secret for you. I think they might be a little bit unnecessary. Maybe a bit wasting paper.
Maybe.
Like writing and not pronouncing. But I have an idea. Since there's so many silent letters in English, why not also then have silent numbers?
Yes.
I think they would be far more useful. Like, I owe you $75. But the 7 is silent.
$5.
So here's 5, thanks. I don't know if you have noticed, but...
Oh, that guy's funny. I don't know what his name is, but he's hilarious. Apparently he's Finnish. Oh, my goodness. Is that why Pat made a cavalry charge in the Silent Revolution? Because the veterans had uniforms? What are you talking about? Don't forget the Kurds. The Kurds have been forgotten about for a century. Your thoughts on the Senate hearings? Mike Pence urging representatives not... I think Mike Pence needs to keep his mouth shut. Mike Pence is not a member of the government. He's someone who was so unpopular and so unneeded that he wasn't even on the ticket for a ticket that he won with last time. He couldn't be part of it. Look, as a private citizen, he's welcome to run his mouth, but he's trying to exert undue influence here, which is beyond his status as a private citizen. That's the issue I have with it. Mike Pence, really, no one cares what he has to say. As far as the hearings, I mean, that's part of the process. It's not required by the Constitution. The Senate exercises that under privilege, and it's just a It's a comedy show. But I like the way that Trump, I don't know if the chief of staff, Susie Wiles, prepared them or somebody prepared them, but they all seem pretty well prepared. Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, all seem very prepared for their hearings. The left is just demonically possessed, trying to demonize these people. And they're, by and large, really good picks. So we'll see how it goes. File under dummy next to Greta Thunberg. Who are we talking about there? Well, who's talking about Ashley Babbitt? What the hell is that coming from? Yeah, how does a medic go to defense intelligence? Well, it's first off, there's no such thing as defense intelligence, okay? The Defense Department has intelligence agencies under it. It has Army intelligence, Air Force intelligence, Navy intelligence, Naval intelligence, all that stuff. And then they have the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is largely a civilian body, but with about 40% military workforce who do all the work. The Defense Intelligence Agency is largely ignored by the senior leaders in the Defense Department. It's just there because it's there. It depends who the director is, and if you happen to have a particularly good analyst who gets a report before a senior leader, then you get influence. I was very successful when I was there, and I managed to write 9 times for the President of the United States, which is unheard of. I mean, that's not the norm. Now, there are times, like when Israel invaded Lebanon when I was there, that the Middle East section would do a daily report, a team report, but that was because, there's combat there. It went on for about 3 months. But as an author who just proposes an article and gets it approved and gets it edited and gets it published and put in front of the president, it's rare that anybody gets more than 1 article. I had 9, and I did that in like 18 months. That's pretty incredible. But anyway, so I wasn't trained to be a defense intelligence analyst. I wasn't trained for the DI. I was just assigned there based on my qualifications and as a foreign area officer, but as an intelligence officer, it just made me better. So, it's you can be a medic, you can be anything. I was a signal soldier and then became an intelligence officer. So, yep. Our world turns darker. I have no idea what little IQ's talking about there. I don't think I don't know what you guys are talking about here. What's the difference between this woman and Ashley Babbitt? Between what woman, Holden Caulfield? I'm not sure who we're talking about. What woman are you talking about? What are we talking about? What woman? Yep. Estevan Huizar says, crap happens. Well, it does. That's for sure. I love Twin Peaks, Charles. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. That was a great show. Yeah, they tried another version of it later on or something like that. It wasn't the same. That was a great show. Machen Amick. Haha. Yeah, I remember the show. Yep. Yeah, I hope Pete Hegseth will put a stop to it. Yep, that person should be charged. And if she still has a reserve commitment, then she should be ordered to active duty to be prosecuted under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Look, we're authorized to wear uniform items, our ribbons, our decorations, our rank insignia. We can wear that. We can even wear the uniform for official functions like Veterans Day, the 4th of July, parades. We can do that. But you can't get up and stand in a congressional body in their uniform and stand there and make political statements. That's illegal. It's a federal crime against it. It's also against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Government seems to be an enslaving institution. Oh, I agree with that. Garrett wasn't trained for life with stupid people. All right, did he leave? Because he's not answering my question here about what woman we're talking about. Some Georgia senator got pushed to the ground. I don't know anything about that. What's that? Look that up. Who? Raphael Warnock? State senator. Okay. Okay, it's a state senator. That's why I don't know the story. State Senator Cotton Moore is banned from entering the House chambers after criticizing the now deceased former speaker. Seriously? A state senator and hardline supporter of President-elect Trump appeared to be pushed to the floor before being arrested while trying to enter the House chamber on Thursday. State Senator Colt Moore previously tried to have Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis impeached, tried to enter the House to attend Brian Kemp's State of the Address, but was ultimately led away in handcuffs. Why isn't he allowed to enter? He's a state senator. He's currently banned from entering the chamber after he blasted the state Senate's decision last year to consider resolutions to name the building at the University of North Carolina after the now deceased former Speaker David Ralston. So why is he banned? How can you ban a member from there? He accused Ralston of using his office to delay court cases of criminal defendants he represented. Yep. This body's about to memorialize, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt Georgia leaders that we have ever going to see in a lifetime. So he's banned. How can they even legally do that? How can you ban the guy? He has to represent people. You can't ban him from the chamber. What kind of nonsense is this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He does not come past this door. All right, stop. That's it. It has gone too far. I have an obligation to be in that room. I represent 200,000 people in Northwest Georgia who duly elected me to be here today. And you're hindering that. Unconstitutional.
Yeah, it is.
You have no respect for the Constitution. Complete disrespect to the Constitution. Major Langford, I have a constitutional obligation to be there, sir. This has gone too far. So you're preventing me from entering.
So the Georgia troopers have illegally just disenfranchised 200,000 Georgians.
Authority than the storekeeper of the house. Sir, I've not caused a disturbance.
No, he's not causing disturbance. They're causing disturbance. Look at that clown. That cop had like 6 stars on his sleeve. Boy, they take themselves a little too seriously there. So the Georgia State Troopers have... Why is this not working? Oh, stupid thing. Georgia State Troopers have hindered that state senator from appearing in the Senate to represent the people whom he's responsible for. Who said something about Ronaldo's late? Ronaldo's not broadcasting today. At least he wasn't earlier. The woman in uniform disrupting... Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So how is she different from Ashley Babbitt? Is that seriously a question? Is that seriously a question? Or am I misunderstanding the question? Let me explain what I'm understanding the question is now. The question was posted earlier by Holden Caulfield, if I remember correctly, saying, so it's okay that Ashley Babbitt was killed. I think that's the first thing. No. Second thing, how is this woman different than Ashley Babbitt? There's no link here whatsoever. No link whatsoever. Ashley Babbitt wasn't in uniform, and she is therefore not even in the same category for what's going on here. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand the comparison. What does Ashley Babbitt have to do with this woman? This woman should be prosecuted for violating federal law by disgracing the uniform and using the uniform for political purposes. You're not allowed to do that. If she was on active duty, she would have already been brought up on excuse me. Sorry, choking here on the damn 15-6. She would have had a 15-6 investigation against her. And she would have been prosecuted under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is what should be done if she has a reserve obligation. She probably doesn't have one, so she should be prosecuted under federal law. That's why there's a federal law, because we have 2 legal systems. You can be prosecuted by both. If you're in the military, you can be prosecuted on the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and there's no double jeopardy. You can be re-prosecuted for the exact same crime in civil court. And that's what happened to the North Carolina Special Forces doctor way back in the day in the 70s who murdered his wife and kids in their apartment on Fort Bragg. And then the cops walked in during a rainstorm and ruined all the evidence, so they never prosecuted him. So they prosecuted him in military court. They couldn't get a conviction. Later, years later, after he was found behaving oddly by his father-in-law of the deceased woman, who initially thought that it was thieves that broke in, hippies that killed her, then he made it his life's mission to get this guy, and they tried him in civilian court for the exact same murder charge, and he was convicted, and he went to prison. That's where he spent the rest of his life. So she should be charged under federal law. Simple as that. We could use those guys as state mate. Yeah, they're a lot better than the ones you've got in South Africa. Those Georgia cops, they got their job done. Yeah, those hats do look ridiculous, but that's a state trooper tradition. That's what they do all over the country. For sounding off inappropriate while in uniform doesn't want just getting demoted. No, Keith, no. No, first off, there's no demotion. She's no longer in the military. Stolen valor. She's no longer in the military, and she's using uniform for political purposes. I ran for office. I couldn't walk around in my uniform so that people would vote for me out of sympathy because I was in the military. That's inappropriate. That's a political use of the uniform. You cannot do that. Not once. You don't get a pass. No one can do that. It's forbidden, and especially for an officer. Especially for an officer. It's a serious offense. Very serious offense. Very serious offense. If granted the opportunity, what would you teach at academia? History, political science. Yep. Okay, so Ashley Babbitt stepped through a door and was murdered. In my opinion, excessive force. Well, Charles, I agree. But again, as I said the day it happened, Ashley Babbitt is the architect of her own demise. That's a sad statement, but it's true. She illegally trespassed in the building and put herself in a situation where she was murdered. It doesn't make it right, and I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying that had she not gone in the building like the other 500,000 people who didn't go in the building, she wouldn't have died. Members of Parliament in South Africa, like I asked to leave as discipline for inappropriate behavior. Not sure if MPs ever been charged physical assault. This guy simply made a statement about someone who wasn't in the chamber. And that's not inappropriate. He didn't use profane language. Just said the guy was corrupt. And they didn't like it, so they banned him from proceedings. Well, no, you can't ban him. He has to represent the people. Those hats are common on state troopers. Yeah, they're all over. Hey, Tom. Right from wrong is lost, people. Yeah, exactly. So she knows she can't wear that uniform, but she gets away with it. And we cannot tolerate that. Yep. If military life is supposed to be a consequence environment, you mess up, you pay the price. Yeah, exactly. Ask the pilots in the Jeju Airlines flight. You can't. They've been obliterated because something was a mistake there. I don't know. It was a mistake on their part. She was not a threat, had no weapon. They could have arrested her and thrown her in jail. Death penalty was not warranted. Tony, you're not listening to what I said. I didn't say that she was not a threat. In fact, the video footage appears to show her pulling down a provocateur from entering in there. And it also appears that she was pushed forward into the window. So, yeah, that's not even in question. No one's questioning that. What I'm saying is that she had no business in the building. Why was she in the building? She had no business in there. And I don't want to hear stuff from people about, well, they're trying to protect the cops. No, the cops had plenty of forces hiding inside the building. Trust me, they weren't outside. Appreciate it's two separate acts, but isn't flaunting that you are a veteran when running for office have the same consequence? No. Good question, Jaya. Good question. Do I have one of them here? I don't know if I have one here. I'm looking. There's very clear Department of Defense guidance on how this works. Look, am I supposed to hide photographs of my life? I spent my entire adult life in the Army. That's impossible. And the military recognizes that. I cannot give the impression that the military endorses my actions. Therefore, all of the adverts, anytime we used to talk about the military, you have to put a disclaimer down there saying not an endorsement, does not imply an endorsement by the Department of Defense. Yep. And then you also can't misrepresent the military when you're doing that. So you have to be very careful. So I ran for office, not as Colonel retired Chris Wyatt. I ran as Chris Wyatt. But I'm perfectly okay to say military veteran and combat veteran and show photographs. But you can't make the focus of your campaign your military career. And it wasn't the case for me. We had a guy who got in trouble. A few guys got in trouble because everything they did was showing them in combat. And it's all about, everything was military. It was their entire campaign. The preponderance cannot be about that. You've got to talk about your issues. You've got to talk about things that are non-military. And my campaign didn't really focus on my military status. I told people I was retired. There's a picture of me in uniform. It's also part of the advert. Let me see if I can find that. Hang on a second. I think I can play that. I won't get a strike, Lee Greenwood. I think I found that now. So give me a second here. Where's that going to be? Under here. I think it's here. I'll take a risk because Lee Greenwood I played on here. I didn't get a strike. I just got a copyright claim. So I can deal with a copyright claim. But it's the strike that's a problem. That's not it. Let me see. Where might this be? I found this recently. Now, where the hell is it at now? It's not there. Also got a note the other day. Apparently, my finance is not closed. I got to go back and close my finance. Where the hell's it at? So, come on. That's my advert. Come on. Where's it at? Where's the video at here? Oh, man, I want to show you guys this video. I know I found it. Oh, but here, I can show you the cards, okay? So, let me see if it's here. It doesn't have to be prominent. Where's it at? That's not there. It's on here somewhere. These are the drafts. It's not on that one. So let me find this one here. One of the ones that has it. Let me make sure it was on there. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I'll show you. So here's my card. It's the front and back of a card I had, okay? So to show you why this is legal. It's a good question by Jaya. No, Jay, asking me is a good person to ask because I know. I ran for office and the first thing I do, it's like if I had been elected to the Pennsylvania State Legislature, the first stop I would have had wasn't to fill out paperwork to get my pay, not to fill out my W-2 to pay tax. No. And not to get orientation. The first stop I would have made before I even took the oath of office, and I said this, is the ethics office. Because I would go there and put a query in to find out before I even take office whether it's appropriate and allowed under state ethics rules that I could still do social media like this. I'm sure it is. But because my audience want to know if I was still going to broadcast. So here, this is my one of my campaign flyers. You'll notice there's 3 photographs of me. Only one of me in uniform. All right? So the preponderance is not military. You'll notice I got leader, combat veteran, educator. The preponderance is not military. Issues, inflation, school choice, fuel, inheritance taxes. None of that's military. All right? And then over here, on the photograph, it says, hard to see that, but it says, photo does not imply DOD endorsement. See that? So, and then I talk combat veteran with 37 years of service, and then that's it. That's the only thing I say about military there. So there's not only is there not a preponderance, there's not even a plurality of military stuff here, but that's perfectly allowed. You can't stamp out who you are. I mean, and at least the government recognizes that. So, yeah, I wasn't taking offense or being defensive, Jay. That's a very good question you ask. I like it because there's a distinction. I mean, to the civilian, they don't know. They just don't know. So I appreciate you asking the question. I'm happy to answer it, and I hope that answered it satisfactorily. Yep. Don't let protesters in chamber rights or not. Yeah, that is disrespect. Who said Ashley Babbitt was a threat? I didn't say that. Why do you keep saying that? I said she wasn't. Yeah, Meerkat, there's an outside chance I'm going to have a ticket to attend at Monday, but now it's going inside. I don't know if I'll be able to get a ticket anymore because my co-host on the radio program has an inside with the Trump administration, and on our show Wednesday said he would get me a ticket. I don't know if that's still going to be possible now. I don't really want to drive down there. The short answer is yes, I'll be covering the inauguration, which means I'll be sitting here like this. Oh, I missed my golden chance last night because of that veterans organization. I had to go in there and mess with that stuff. I was going to broadcast the SpaceX Starship launch. I broadcast all but one of them. And guess what happened? Henry, you still here? What do we always want? We went to Kabooms. We had a Kaboom last night and I missed it. Oh, my goodness. Would have been a huge audience. So I missed the Kaboom yesterday. Really bummed out about that. Thought you were getting defensive about Ashley Babbitt, not Ashley Babbitt. I get it now. No, I'm not defensive about Ashley Babbitt. Not at all. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So let me see. I got something sitting here. Yeah. No, I don't know if I'll be able to go to the Trump swearing in now because it's moved indoors. I don't know what the capacity is. It probably changes the entire seating situation. So I'll bet you this isn't a weather issue. You want to bet they're going to say it's weather? It's a security issue. I guarantee it's a security issue. They probably have received threats against the president's life. That would be my expectation. And they get them all the time. And out of an abundance of caution, the Secret Service has decided maybe it's time to do their job for once. You know, that's what I think. Yeah, it blew up, Garrett, and I missed the damn thing. Oh, man, no Kaboom live stream. Hendo, I'm so bummed out. Missed my freaking Kaboom live stream. You know what? I should take the video clips and then show them and do a reaction, right? Yeah, it's definitely a security issue. It's not because of weather. Although suppose we're going to have bad weather. Yep. Yeah, no Kaboom. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, okay, so where was that question? It was about Ashley Babbitt back here. Yeah, Alter Bridge. I'm not getting defensive, Ashley. I'm just confused. But it's out of sequence. The text was earlier. I'm trying to go back and address all the text. And you're talking about things that I've already talked about and moved on to 6 more subjects. So sometimes I don't quite get the point. Again, the point is Ashley Babbitt was murdered. And no one's been held to account for it. We only know the guy's name because he's self-admitted. They covered it all up. But she's the architect of her own demise. She shouldn't have been in the building. Not blaming the victim, but that's a statement of fact. If she had been shot dead on the steps of the Capitol building, well, then we got a different story. Yep. Yeah, he later admitted he misfired. He was never held accountable. This is the same cop, Beth, who was sanctioned for leaving his loaded firearm on the wash basin in the congressional bathroom in the Capitol building where kids and tourists walk in and use that bathroom. It wasn't a private facility. He left his loaded gun in there and someone found it. He's a moron. But he was promoted. He was a lieutenant, I think, when he did this. He's probably a captain now. Gee, I wonder why he's promoted. I don't know anything about an elderly person being hit in the face with a police canister and died of a heart attack. I know someone did die of a heart attack, a protester outside, plus the lady who was tramped on and beaten by the cops. Hold on, I got a scam phone call coming in. Let me get rid of that. Okay. I'm not totally against Eddie Jordan getting equity in the Springboks. He lives in Cape Town. Yeah, no, that came out of nowhere. He must be way behind. Security issue sounds right. Yeah, the conversation started off in a seemingly different direction, but it makes sense now. She's the J6 lady. Rapid, unplanned disassembly. That's exactly what it was. What's going on with Chris Ehlers and PK? You guys chill out, man. Okay? Chill out, folks. All right, so the fact is we get very abused, very abused in social media and in public by racist black people, and I'm getting tired of it. I had zero to do with apartheid. Yeah, exactly, Charmaine. I'm tired of it too. Ek is hot full. Yep, and I'm not even South African. Well, that's why I call it out. I call out these idiots on both sides of the aisle who act like fools. What's your thoughts on Peter de Villiers' meerkat? I'll share those thoughts, but I did already report on this story. The unsuccessful former head coach of the Springboks and of the Zimbabwe Sables was kicked out of the Good Party for an alleged sexual offense last year. We never saw any report released to the public by the Good Party. They just made this claim. If they had nothing to back it up, they shouldn't have made the claim. If they have something to back it up, they should have released the information to the public so we have trust and transparency in the Good Party, which we don't have because they weren't forthcoming. So I don't know what happened with Peter de Villiers, but he left that party, and now he joins MK Party. It's interesting because I read his comments. Peter de Villiers said it's because, our people have been marginalized for too long. Marginalized by whom? By the white apartheid government and by the black supremacy ANC government. You're being oppressed by a majority black government now, and you're joining a black party, which is comprised primarily of people who were in part of the ANC who suppressed and oppressed colored South Africans. My mustache is not looking right today. Sorry, folks. Drive me nuts. So Peter de Villiers' decision to join MK makes no sense whatsoever. He's joined a black supremacist party, and he's talking about colored rights. It's comical, to say the very least. There is nothing that MK will ever do to promote or advance colored South Africans. You want to take a bet on that? Does somebody want to bet me on that right now? Nothing they will ever do. They don't care about colored South Africans. Many people in MK Party have made it clear that they think that colored South Africans are no different or no better than white South Africans, and they should be chased out of the country as well. Yep. So Peter de Villiers joining MK is it's like Jack Markowitz being in EFF. It's just silly. Or Carl Nyhorst being there. And the guy that gets kicked out of politics is Ronaldo Khus. Oh my goodness. So Stinky said, did I see that Starmer's not going? No, I didn't see it. Well, Starmer won't be in office in 6 months, so he better enjoy the time he's got in office right now because he won't be around for long. Someone on the live stream yesterday said Elon has something special planned for the launch. Yeah, I heard that. Well, I heard last night that Kid Rock has got something special planned for the launch. There's all kinds of parties going on, so I don't know about that. He was booted, so I believe there must have been substance. Yeah, no, I don't doubt it, Charles, but they should have been forthcoming. I'll use the cableway and wave at you climbers. What cableway? Up to Table Mountain? Oh, anyone from here to Cape Town climbed? No, I've never climbed. I use the cable car. I've been up there a few times. I use the cable car. Yep. Did you see Starmer? Yeah, okay. We found... Okay, PK, knock it off. We found a hidden small fort. Look out at the base of Table Mountain towards the middle. Okay. Interesting. Mustache needs a trim. Well, the beard's gotten a trim. The mustache now is standing out on its own. Maybe it's time to start doing this. Do the handlebar thing. There you go. Look at that. I look at barbershop quartet. I do suffer from clinical PTSD. That's true. I know that. Hey, Michael, how's it going? I think you should run as a Republican. I think you might win. I ran as a Republican, Michael, against other Republicans, but the Republican Party is corrupt, and the fix was in. The fix was in. The precincts captains misled us and lied to us, essentially, saying that there was an open race, that they weren't endorsing any candidate because there were 5 candidates in the race, and they were good candidates. And, my candidacy was undermined with political lies, subterfuge by existing members of the state legislature who clandestinely, but not so successfully clandestinely, supported someone else who, in my view, is not qualified to be a member of the legislature and is also a snake oil salesman and a charlatan. That's my view. Anyway, so my view is for what it's worth. It gets as far as my arm. But new Ronaldo is better than the Arctic. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the thought there, Michael. Everything went downhill for Peter after he started coaching. Yes, it did, awkward, Leon. It did. Most coloreds, what's this? Did not choose to be in South Africa, so these people make comments against them have zero standing. Well, I mean, quite frankly, Charles, most coloreds have more claim to South Africa than any Nguni-speaking peoples at all. Because most coloreds are likely a mixture of people from Indonesia, tiny number of Chinese, Indonesia, Khoi, San, and European. And therefore, they have heritage that goes back 50,000 years or more, where the Nguni peoples have only been in country, in situ, for 1,600 years. So 50,000 years, 1,600 years. Talk to the hand. So the coloreds have more claim to South Africa than any Nguni speaking. A brown South African has more claim, except for the Indians, to South Africa than any black South African, if they're going to play this game. Fact. Cronyism's rife. Cronyism's rife in every politics in every country. Piketberg spent 20 years. Okay. Go Van Dyke. Well, I'm going to do a Van Dyke. Michael says, I think politics is very complex, and because you have to be a people's person. You'll always win if you're an activist or a constituent. Yeah, that's true, Michael, but it isn't a guarantee. The problem is if you're honest, if you have a conscience, if you have a moral code that you aren't going to breach just because. I mean, I could have breached the moral code. I had dirt on an opponent who won the race. I had dirt that could have destroyed the person's candidacy. The person likely committed state crimes. In fact, I know he did, but I mean, it's not really here and there. But didn't use that because that's not morally right. I'm not going to do that. True coloreds have more claims out there than anyone else. Exactly, Hendo. Exactly. Not mixed race people like freaking, Trevor Noah. He's not colored. Guy's mixed race. He's not colored. It's not. Oh gosh, I'm gonna blix him that guy next time. PK, blix him. Anyway, yeah, Trevor Noah, not a colored. Not a colored. He's a wannabe. He's a wannabe colored. Just a mixed race dude. Swiss father in the 20th century doesn't make you colored. Doesn't make you colored. I think his mother's says, isn't she? Yeah, exactly. Trevor Noah some more. Yep. Wondering if you can do something through a community-based program or nonprofit that will. Oh, you're trying to help. Okay. You guys are trying to help each other now. Okay, you're trying to help Chris. Yeah, Chris gets a little in a mood sometimes. Chris Ehlers, and we're very patient, and tolerant with Chris, understanding the life that Chris has had. But everybody gets held to a standard. So if you're crazy, you get a little spank every now and then. Oh, yeah, you can have Charlize Theron, too. Yeah, she stopped being attractive a long time ago. Isn't she the one that's turned her boy into a girl? Child abuse, man. Ugh. Charlize Theron. Ugh. I'll bet you my Bonnie Blue video hasn't got 400 views. I mean, if I was young and perky and wearing a C cup, I bet you'd have 50,000 views on that video already. I mean, I used the right title. It's Bonnie Blue. 175 views? Come on, that's just sad. That can't be right. 302. Okay, still not great. Anyway, Bonnie Blue. Trevor's a cheap hustler. 100%. Charlene is from Benoni. End of discussion. Somebody mentioned me in Benoni today. Yeah, Hendo isn't a Brit. That's right. His trek is a little bit off track. That's right. Hendo's trek is a bit off track. That's well stated. Hendo is a political refugee who never went home. See, these people come, they're refugees. They never go home. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so what was I trying to find earlier? I was trying to find my video and I started showing you that. Let me see if I can find it again here. So I've got the audio here somewhere, but where'd the damn video go? Anyway, maybe it's down here. Let me see. Chris Wyatt. Let me see. Let's see if it shows up here. Nope. Let's try it that way. Nope, not there. I found that darn thing. Well, that sucks. Maybe it's just... Hang on a second here. Yeah, I found it the other day. Did I put it on the desktop? Maybe I did put it on the desktop. And then I'm trying to remember where I put it. Not there. Let's check this desktop. Not here either, man. Well, that sucks because it's a cool one. I want to show it to you guys. I did show it before because I was afraid, but now I'm not afraid. It's somewhere. Anyway. I thought I had it somewhere else, but oh well. You know, you think this, you think that. Sometimes you're just wrong. You take the good, you take the bad, and then you have the facts of life. The facts of life. Okay, something's going on here. There we go. I'm back. Okay. So I'm going to try one more time to find this and see if I can't find it. See if it shows up. Nope. It would be last year. I don't know. It's should have been right in this folder here. Maybe it's there. Nope. Just looking for it here. Graphics. It's not in the graphics folder. That's where I thought it was going to be. I've got the audio in here. Let me see. Yeah, out of my pocket. $5,000. Those were radio heads. Cost me $4,500. That's why I lost, because I didn't mention the beard. That's one of the radio ads. That's one. Let me see. There's another one here. I just had, yeah, $5,000. Yeah, that's the boy. Radio is expensive, man. Let me see. Is this the same one? Hang on a second. That one was 2.32. It's 1.82. Okay, here we go. Let's try this.
I'm Colonel Chris Wyatt, U.S. Army retired. I served our nation and our Constitution for nearly 37 years, including combat tours of duty. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary for the 92nd District. Far too many of our elected officials in legislatures and in Congress are not very competent at leading, planning, or even being fiscally responsible. It takes moral courage to tell folks the truth when few want to hear the truth. Our politicians must be willing to be honest with the public, not pander to them for their votes. Davy Crockett went to Washington and stayed for just a few years, not for decades on end. His example of a servant leader in office to represent the common interest of citizens, his state, and the nation is one to embrace. A politician should be running for or in office not for craven political power, self-aggrandizement, or self-enrichment, but rather to be a servant leader. Passion to serve in office to improve governance and the human condition should be paramount for any politician. I've sacrificed much to devote my adult life to serving others. My career is one of selfless service, dedication, integrity, honesty, and passion for defending our liberties and our nation. I entered this race not for fame or fortune, nor a comfortable, cozy job, but rather because I fear for our state and our nation and cannot sit idly by as it falls apart. Few politicians match this commitment. Please vote for Chris Wyatt on April 23rd. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, I'll find that video because I've got Lee Greenwood in the background. It's a really cool video. I wish I'd had it handy here, folks. God bless it. I mean, I know I had that darn thing, so it's frustrating why it's not there. Anyway, let me just go back and see if I can go back to last year. But yeah, it was a cool video. I think it's in my download section here. So where's it at? Anyway, yeah, so somebody, Awkward Leon, says he wouldn't have voted for me. Well, thanks for sharing, Awkward Leon. Really nice of you to share that thought there. You wouldn't have voted for me. Why? Why wouldn't you have voted for me? What's the problem? That's not quite far enough back. Okay, May 31st. It's going to be around this time. It was April. So one more month back. Maybe I can find it here. Okay. So that's May 29th. How do we get to May 29th? Going backwards here. Yeah, so why wouldn't you have voted for me, Awkward Leon? What? Not that should inspire you to vote for me, but why wouldn't you have voted for me? Almost there, back to April. In my download folder. I would have sworn I pulled it out of here, copied it somewhere. I guess I didn't. May 3rd. It's going to be before that. The election was... That's not it. Okay, it's going to come April 29th. It's going to be close to here because it was produced just before we did the campaign. Close here now. There's a picture of me with Garrett. April 21st. It should have been in here. Well, I guess I moved it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Must have missed it. Well, that's a shame. Anyway, it's a pretty cool video. I just wanted to show it to you guys. I was afraid to show it last year, so because of the copyright. But then I played Lee Greenwood, and it proved not to be a problem. This is where it should have been, right in here. Huh. I don't see it. Well, April 23rd. Maybe I didn't go back far enough. I'm sorry. It was 21st. Well, anyway, whatever. Sorry, guys. You get focused and you want to find something, and I can't find it right now. So anyway, you should have said, if your dad doesn't have a beard, then you have two moms. Tony's out of here. Okay. All right. Jenkins says I'd vote for you. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Keep an eye out, especially if he just wants to sleep and take. What's this? All right, so folks, let's wrap it up. It's a Friday. 5 games this weekend, 4 tomorrow. We got Stormers, Lions, Cheetahs, and Bulls? No, Sharks. Sunday is the Bulls. Yep. Yeah, so it's going to be a tough weekend here. Let me take a look at the games on Rugby Ascendant. Please join me over there. But on Rugby Ascendant, we've got 5 games this weekend. EPCR, this is the last round for qualifying, thankfully. It's been painful. So I was kind of glad that it's over here. But let's go to the Rugby Banners. Give me a sec. Here is it. Indexes. Okay, there you go. All right, so we've got. I didn't make them yet. What am I doing here, silly boy? I've made the posters, but they're still in PowerPoint. I haven't saved them as a JPEG. Let me see, it's an image file. So let me pull up in that Rugby broadcast banners. Here we go. Come down here to the spot where they're at. Come on, there we go. Okay, so we've got 5 games, and 18th, the first one. That can't be right. Are the Bulls first? Who do the Stormers play? Oh. Something ain't right here. Okay, yeah, I guess the Bulls. Bulls versus Stade Francais at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I don't expect that to go well for the Bulls, but if they win, it doesn't matter. They're not going to advance. So that's first. Then we have the Lions hosting the Dragons, a team they actually play in the URC. And that's a game that the Lions should win. It's at home at Ellis Park. And that's at 10:15 my time, so 5:15 South Africa time. Then it's the Harlequins versus wait a second, that's the Stormers and Cheetahs. That isn't right. It's that's why I haven't done this yet. It's Lyon versus the Cheetahs. My bad. Okay, Lyon, Lyon. I got interrupted when I was doing this by all that veteran stuff yesterday. Cheetahs. Lyon versus the Cheetahs. Got it now. And then it's Racing 92 versus the Stormers. That's going to be a tough one for the Stormers. They got to win it. It's in Paris, though. And then the last one here, the Sharks play on Sunday. My bad. Sharks play Bordeaux, and the Sharks are going to get crushed by Bordeaux. Bordeaux is very talented. Stormers could beat Racing 92, but it's going to be tough. Cheetahs aren't going to beat Lyon unless we get really lucky or they play very well. Lions should win, and the Bulls should win. So it's a very real chance we'll go 1 for 5 this weekend again. That's not good. Not good. Okay. No petition to sign. Won't vote for you because you're an honest person. Plus, I like you. Well, thank you, Leah. It's very kind of you. Awkward said I'm sorry for it. Oh, I thought it said you wouldn't have voted for me. Okay, maybe it said you would have voted for me. I might have read it wrong. Thank you. I was like, why didn't you want to vote for me? Yeah. Well, those were audio, but wait till you see the video. The video is really cool. It's well done. They asked me for photographs and for me to record a few things, and they put it all together very quickly, the guys who did it. And it was actually iHeartRadio that did the audios, and they put that together very quickly. But that cost me a lot of money. The actual price was $4,800, but I got it for like $4,500, something like that, because it had 10% off. Yeah, it was almost 10%, whatever. And it was just a lot of money. And I'm not sure the radio was even worth it. So I could have saved that money. That wound up going on my credit card because I had already drained my savings accounts. They were empty, so I didn't have any cash left. So and my business account I drained, so there was no money left. So I put it on a credit card and I had to pay it off the next month. My tax return helped pay for that. If you're South African Parliament, you wouldn't have a good candidate for political party. Yeah, it sounds like the audio at Gettysburg. Oh, thank you, Beth. Expensive lesson. Yeah, Charles, but I mean, it was going to be expensive. Look, I was asked at the beginning of that thing, I said I was going to end this, but we're chatting. I was asked at the beginning of that thing by a couple of political action groups, how much money are you going to spend? I said, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm projecting that I'll spend between $5,000 and $10,000. And one of the guys almost laughed in my face and said, yeah, okay, all right. Well, the problem is that one candidate was clandestinely supported by the existing state legislature, who used her support base, even though she said she wasn't supporting him, to raise $80,000 in campaign funding from her donors. So they gave the money. One guy gave $8,000 to this candidate. And he's never done anything in his life except be a school teacher. Nothing wrong with being a school teacher, but he's never led anybody. Then he claimed he's a leader. What has he led? A kindergarten creche? It's comical. So $80,000. And the other candidate, who's actually an honorable person, was backed by the state senator and got $40-some thousand from that state senator, plus spent $40,000 of his own money. So spent even more money than I did. So yeah, that's tough to run up against a war chest like that. And then on top of that, to have one of those candidates, not the good moral person, but the other one, actively undermining my campaign, and people whom I can't identify running around and lying about me and lying about my campaign, stealing my signs, which is a state crime. It's a misdemeanor to take someone's political signs off of public land and off their private property. And those signs were costing me anywhere between $6.50 and $10 a piece. And I had hundreds of them. And I know of at least 50 to 100 signs that were stolen at $10 a piece. Yeah. Yeah. It is. Money rules, but it's not just the money. But I mean, I still could have won this race, Charles. I would have won the race if the existing legislator hadn't lied and been honest and didn't support the other candidate. Because despite his ground game, despite dirty underhanded tricks that were going on, despite all the money, he only got a fraction of the vote. The race was decided by 400 votes, not between me and this. I came in fourth. I didn't even come because of the negative campaign against me and people stealing my signs, and so I didn't reach as many people. But the number of people that I reached, vice the number of people voted for me, I hit 3,000, about 3,000 houses. The 3,000 houses, I got 1,000 votes. So I mean, that's a 33% turnout in a primary, which is, if I went by that metric of getting people whom I met and asked to vote for me and talk to them, versus, and I didn't get to meet all those people. Some of those people, didn't answer the door, but 3,000 doors. But just from that metric alone, 33% was nearly double the actual voter turnout. So I was able to get twice as many people to come out and vote for me after they met me and talked to me as those who just came out to vote. So yeah, and he got votes because he was a high school teacher, and he won the votes because the way the district's designed, this area, this township, is where the high school is at, and that he taught at, and he's got 2.5 decades of kids that went to school there that he taught, plus their kids, and the parents of those kids that he started. So there's a lot of people who speak highly of him because they liked the teacher in school, and they voted for him because they liked him, not because he was qualified. So look, it's politics. That's how it goes. So yeah, it was a lesson. Yeah, beard always comes back. That's true. Perhaps if you would like, we'll have you on Zoom to share photos and how you found the fort. Sad indictment. Yep. Okay. Thank you for giving me work, but it's easy, as I know now. Sources must try to get my photos. Huh? What work? At least you had the balls to put your money where your mouth is instead. Yeah, exactly, Fleshin. Exactly. That's the thing. Well, it's like doing this. I mean, you think I haven't, this is a very friendly audience today, but you think I haven't taken some horrific abuse and false allegations and lies and misdirection. I mean, I've had people, some of the stuff, especially in 2020, 2021, in 2022, what was going on, people were getting away with the leftists and the attacks and the supremacists and what they did to people.
you put yourself out there. No, I don't have to do this. I mean, I don't have an ego that I need to do this. I mean, I spent my entire life not doing this. I'm not 18 and this is what I started doing. This is what I'm going to do my whole life, like freaking Tim Pool. No, this is something that I decided to do because I was trying to promote my consultancy. But it became popular, and as a consequence, I do it. But I'm fine not doing it. Yeah, the problem is that it's right. I'm too honest. I know how to get results. They don't want results. They want gridlock. Yep. All right. That's it, folks. We're going to do it. Happy Friday. Enjoy your Friday. TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. Or thank God it's Friday, however you say that. And please join me tomorrow for the Rugby Ascendant broadcast. Looking forward to that. Take care of yourselves. Don't take any wooden nickels. And look at this nice gift that a friend of mine gave me. A silver 1 ounce, troy ounce of Donald Trump with the fist in the air. Fight, fight, fight. Butler, Pennsylvania. Commemorative coin. It's numbered, limited edition. Very nice of that gentleman. All right, folks. Cheers. My house is more than one building, part of an 1889 English. Okay, thanks for that, Richard. All right, cheers, cheers, cheers. Take care of yourselves, folks. God bless, and have a good weekend. Thank you very much.